Number 4, jazz hands, trust money. Okay, this is where I spent a lot of my time with the real estate commission. The commission giveth and the commission taketh away. A lot of times based on how you all are handling money. And as you know, in the sales realm, most brokers that I know do not hold money anymore. All the money goes to the attorneys. They don't want to touch it. They don't have trust accounts. And if you don't have a trust account and the commission comes to audit you, they knock on your door and say, "Hi, we're here for a spot audit." When you tell them you don't have a trust account, they say, "Goodbye, have a nice day." But property managers, for the most part, don't have that luxury, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about how do you handle your trust money. Some of the best books I've ever seen were done by hand. It was a guy who'd been in the business forever. He'd always done it that way, but he was doing a bang-up job doing his books and records by hand. Old-timey ledger cards, little check stubs, and a little piece of paper doing the reconciliation every month. But he was doing the reconciliation every month. And I've got to tell you, in the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of audits I did over the 7 years that I was an auditor for the commission, I never had a perfect audit. Never had a perfect audit. Think about that. All those audits, there's always something wrong. The question's always going to be, is that something big or small? So it could be something small like, oh, the memo on your check line doesn't comply with what the rule says. Or it could be, oh, your deposit slip doesn't accurately reflect what the parties are to the transaction and what the money is for. But that's just a checkbox on an audit form saying, nope, you're not doing well with your deposit slips. Thankfully, a lot of us, bless you, a lot of us are working with online stuff now. We have softwares that we use where people are paying online. And so it can help you in your task when you can hit a button and say reconcile. But even so, I have clients whose books we reconcile every month because their bookkeepers just can't get it right. Just can't get it right. Or they just haven't reconciled in 4 months just because they haven't been able to figure out a problem from 4 months ago, and they didn't want to reconcile because they have to figure that thing out back there, and then you're busy running your business. Right? You're busy trying to make the payroll. So this is the easiest way to lose your real estate license, is not being in compliance. Okay, so after you master these dance moves, you should be able to understand whether or not you need multiple trust accounts, understand custodial accounts, and know how to handle trust account reconciliations that comply. Okay, so can you follow the trend and avoid holding client funds? Is it possible for a manager to not touch funds? I don't see how. I guess there can be a weird, bizarre way of you're having the rent sent directly to them and you get paid by a check somehow, but that's not how it goes. So you're going to have trust accounts. How many trust accounts do you all typically have? Do you have a separate rent account and a separate security deposit account? Yeah, so how many of you do that? Have 2 accounts? Almost everybody. And the rest of you 1 account. So the rules do not require you to have 2 accounts, but I would say that most of my clients do. And I think the reason most of my clients do is because it makes the reconciliations a little easier. You know that the security deposit account is not going to change much every month. So it's really fast to reconcile that. The rent account, however, has tons of ins and outs and is much more detailed. And so most of my clients do like to have them be separate. But it's up to you. The rules do say that you have to have a trust account. So your account, the bank statements, the deposit slip, if you have them, the bank statements, deposit slips, and the checks all have to say trust or escrow on them. And if they don't, it's a violation. And that violation, I'd say, tends to be a little bit of a worse violation than your memos, because what the purpose of the escrow or trust designation is to let the world know this is not my money. So if you're sued or you have some sort of issue where your accounts are frozen, the lawsuits cannot freeze a trust account because it's not yours, it's your client's. So just make sure, go back to the office, and if you have checks that you write out, make sure they say trust or escrow. It's like one of the number 1 ways I saw people miss an item on an audit.